All right, this first one is from Obsidian Ant, called Starfield, Space Interiors, and Space Flight. I barely know anything about Starfield. I think most people don't know anything about Starfield because there's not a lot of information out there. But as just like Cyberpunk 2077 and literally Elite Dangerous and literally every game that's ever come out that even has an ounce of space related to it, it's the next Star Citizen killer. So I'm probably going to watch some videos related to Starfield going forward and laughing at the fact that nothing will ever be a Star Citizen killer because nobody's stupid enough to try to make Star Citizen, right? You can't kill a game that is impossible to, like, nobody's going to make it, okay? Nobody's going to make a competitor to the game because it's literally impossible. So let's go ahead and watch Starfield. Yeah, like Starfield isn't even multiplayer, exactly. So that's kind of the point. But that's what people will say. People will literally say that this is a Star Citizen killer, and it's not. So
we may have some answers to two of the biggest questions surrounding Starfield, that is, ship interiors and spaceflight. Now, very recently, website Games Radar felt confident in discussing the idea of ship interiors, and it's based largely on some concept art from a recent Into the Starfield episode directly from Bethesda. The image in question.
God, Star Citizen has some influence here. Well, I didn't realize, like, looking at it, obviously it looks very... Spaceship interiors are hard to get away from. Like, this looks like a Star Citizen ship, but the showing concept art thing.
Question is on screen right
to hype
here.
People about a game.
Now, I'm with Games Radar on this one. This does indeed look very much like a ship interior. It could, of course, equally be a moon base or other type of
it could be a station interior.
But, yeah, I think it looks very much like a spaceship. In fact, although it's not very clear, look out the window and that looks very much like a planetary surface. Do let me know what you think on that.
This also looks like a wing, right? This also kind of gives the impression of its the structure of the ship on the outside that's blocking the planetary surface.
The comment section. Is this located in space or on the ground? Now, I'll go one step further and double down on the idea of space-based interiors with this image. So yeah, again, this is concept art, but I think you'll be hard-pressed to say this is anything other than a spaceship interior. Now, the idea of walking around inside a...
See, what's funny is I think this is more likely a space station interior.
Spaceship is a very big deal to many space game enthusiasts. There's not that many games out there that allow you to do it, and certainly none that have big epic sprawling stories. Of course, this is guesswork at the moment. There's not much in the way of official information out there, although that said, both Bethesda and Microsoft have a joint showcase for June 2022. Very likely that Starfield is going to make an appearance there, hopefully with either a very detailed trailer or even better, some gameplay. Keep in mind that Todd Howard has previously stated that gameplay reveals for Starfield will be taking place summer this year. That doesn't mean it's guaranteed for this June, but you never know. Now moving on to the idea of spaceflight. It's still yet to be confirmed whether or not players will be able...
Wait, does this game really have a November release date? And they're really only showing concept art right now? I know single player games are easier to make, but yeah, it does. Yikes. I mean, hey. Hopefully it's good. It's basically going to be space Fallout, right? That's kind of the impression that everybody's getting.
To actively fly their spaceships between planets. So I want to preface what I'm about to say with this particular post from Todd Howard. Coming to Starfield, everybody's starting over and saying, what would you want to do? What does going to space mean to you? And everybody comes back with the same one. I want to see what's out there. So a very...
you know what that means, right? I feel like exploration is very difficult to do. I just hope that it's a lot of like questing and that kind of stuff, because I just want the game to bring you to different places that are cool looking, you know? Yeah, like people like the idea of exploration in games, but in reality, it is quite boring. So, like, I want the game to drive you to places for you to look around and go, oh, this is a cool place. And if you want to dive into it a little bit more, you can. Starfield's 100% copium, of course, because you don't know anything about it, right? The only thing you could do is, this is the dev studio that's doing this. They made Fallout. They're probably going to do a space Fallout. Like, that's pretty much, I feel like that's all we can do
Clear
right
reference
now.
there to going to space. So, not a full-on confirmation about spaceflight, but here's another piece of info.
We don't have control over how the player chooses to experience the game. Our sense of scale had to be totally readjusted in making a game on a planetary surface as we've always done before, and now where you have these very vast distances against this black starry background. It is a blank canvas and a massive playground, and all the pieces are there for you to write your own story.
So, whilst Mark was discussing music and sound design here, it seems very clear that he was actually talking about spaceflight when he was referring to the distances between planets.
Yeah, but spaceflight doesn't mean that it's like going to be super manual like Star Citizen or Elite Dangerous. Right? Like, it just doesn't mean that. It just might mean that you fly from one place to another in space. There might be a loading screen in between it. Most likely there will be.
By no means full-on official confirmation, but I think that's very, very close at this point. Now, if you want to go one step further and look at unofficial sources, there is a leak. Very recent, in fact, well, a couple of weeks ago actually. This come from an alleged ex-Bethesda developer who discussed the progress of Starfield as well as the flight model. Here's what they had to say.
Flight model.
It was a cool, solid place to work, very secure. The engine is a piece of crap though. Todd is a charismatic guy for sure. Starfield is looking good. Weekly Thursday playtest since the beginning of the year. More and more stuff coming online. Shooting feels alright. Flying is terrible at the moment, in my opinion. Just not fun for me. Lighting and stuff is looking better and better, though it's not at the level of Horizon's Forbidden West or anything like that, but still a good looking game. In terms of if it will ship on time, well, they would try, that's for sure. They cut what they did to, etc. They cut what they need to, etc. Not sure. They have an overabundance of content, probably too much, so that's not the issue. Finding the fun and of course the bug fixing is the big thing. It's a sexy day though, and you only get one of those. Beta is this summer. That's when the picture will become truly clear.
Okay.
Now, the question, of course, is whether or not this is legitimate. So,
Drew,
James
thank you,
journalist Jason Schreier has apparently verified that the leaker was legitimate, but can't necessarily back up everything they said. Ultimately, then, you can take it with a pinch of salt or fully believe it. The choice
Whoa,
is
Cutlass?
yours. Either way, there's a lot of information in the post. The two takeaway points for me are the reference to spaceflight, regardless of whether or not the leaker themselves actually likes a spaceflight, that as is according to them in the game. The other information is the reference to a beta this summer. Whether or not that's an internal build, we're just going to have to wait and see. Finally, another little snippet here to end the video with. This is an image from Bethesda posted on the 4th of May, which of course is also known as Star Wars Day. Now, the central character here appears to be Vasco, which is a player companion. Who knows who the other droids are here? Could these also be player companions? If so, there's a lot of variety. Although,
Very
check out
much
the
Star
character on
Wars
the right.
inspired.
Could that be from Fallout? Anyway, that brings me to the end of this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.
I mean, listen, dude, it looks interesting. It does. It looks really interesting. In terms of like, would this be a game that I would love to check out? Yeah, I don't know if I would check it out on day one. I don't know if I would check it out on stream. I don't know. Fallout 76 killed it for a lot of people. So this could be a saving grace for them, or this could be like nail in the coffin. But like, again, all we're seeing is concept art. I just come from this standpoint of single player open world games. Those games are fun. You know, this one might be fun as well. And that's just where I'm sticking with it. I will follow other channels for news on the subject, but I'm not going to sink my teeth into this game at all. Because, again, single-player games are not where you make communities or build communities around games like that, really. So it's not something that interests me as a content creator at all. It's something that interests me just as a gamer, that it's a game I would like to play. You know, multiplayer games are where you build communities around. Single player games are where you have a moment of fun with your community or something like that when it comes from a content creator perspective. But from a gamer perspective, it could be really fun. Right? It may not. We'll have to see. But let me go ahead and link the video in chat for you guys. There you go. So that was Obsidian Ant.